Well, Pavon and I just got back from a family vacation this past week.
Unyanyo lu the California lu mu shai kutini cha mu oshi.
And it was 85 degrees every day.
Tope mu oshi jang kang je Australia. Tonu yin ya yi jiao 3 degrees u ma zhong he.
So this is really tough to come back to.
The nyo he cho u cha kang lu cho kha chom no he.
But we're back and we're thrilled to be a part of Family Day. Oh, and there it goes. we're thrilled to be a part of Family Day here at River Life.
U cha kang lu la shi yin zhong sha he ku nu no ya nu ku pe cha kang shi shao ke chu sen ya pe YouTube pe lu cho lu yi nu no pe cha le cha shu le to le no.
So when we first got married, we decided to wait a few years before we had kids.
Thầu cứ nhận nhớ sĩ sau này ok giá trị xã tại tỏ bé xong là mà mua mình nhớ.
And when we decided to start having kids, it didn't happen right away.
Thầu cứ giá trị xã là tại chú trai là tại dùng mua mình nhớ, chàng phê chỉ tỏ là chàng là mua chỉ tàu mình nhớ.
In fact, months went by and years went by, and we didn't get pregnant.
Ít lì, tại cha lại thầu mua ít xong, phê chỉ mua chỉ tàu mình nhớ lẽ.
And I started to get really angry.
Tại cụ cha lại pin bao tờ.
I was angry at God.
Cũng bao tờ cho văn chữ.
I was angry at me.
Bao tờ cho cụ tu khen.
And I think I was angry at life.
Ham bao tờ cho cụ luôn nên.
And I didn't really understand why.
Cụ chỉ tao tại vì là chàng mua chữ sĩ lên nó.
All of our friends were having kids.
Thằng cha cho phong dư cho tụi em mua mình nhiều thằng lại là.
It seemed like they just had to look at each other across the room and they got pregnant.
Giống như cái dùng gì cho bố lôi bố nhiều xí sai cho nên tụi mua mình nhiều lại là.
But not us.
Tôi chỉ là để chỉ giờ lên đấy.
And I was very angry.
Cái cụ chỉ hết tu sa ham bao thời hình.
And I realized that it was because I thought that having children was kind of my right.
Cụ lên mà chơi hết tao ta cụ bao thời cho văn chữ vì cho cụ sáng hết ta cụ mua trái tao mình nhiều chả văn chữ chỉ mua cho cụ lại.
I mean, isn't it supposed to be like that? You get married, and then when you decide to have kids, you get kids.
Bé ôn này nhỏ thì tí họ lên đấy nè, yêu có giờ là yêu có pu, thì chính để thì yêu mua mình tự mình nhỏ nè.
And when we couldn't have kids, I felt cheated.
Thầu cái cú mua chỉ tao là để cho lấy cứ lên từ trên ý dạng cứ yêu cú mua trái tao tôi chịu chẳng cú chỉ tao.
So we prayed a lot and we talked a lot, and God taught me something.
Thì thọ văn chữ ha thẳng đau dạng chịu họ cứ mua chỉ tao mình nhỏ, thì lúc xí hình đó văn chữ khai ý dạng chính kiến hình cho cú.
That having kids wasn't my right.
Văn chữ khai cho cú bao hết ta họ cứ yêu mua mình tự mình nhỏ chỉ họ ý dạng cứ yêu mua trái tao hay yêu chủ mua.
It was actually a gift from God.
Tại vì họ cứ biết tao mình tự mình nhỏ yêu công mong để văn chữ mua cho yêu.
And when I was able to make that change, it gave me a lot of peace.
Thầu cú tao lên đó là tại mình nhỏ yêu công mong cứ văn chữ mua cú lúc xa cha lệ từ hay cú cha lệ càng xa.
And in that peace, I was able to accept that we weren't having kids.
Thầu cú lúc xa từ là hay cú càng xa là cú cha lệ trái tao dạng cứ văn chữ mua cho cứ mua cho tao mình nhỏ.
I was able to even embrace it and even see the blessing.
Cú cha lệ trái tao họ cứ văn chữ sai cho hay cú thao lù bù ta họ cứ văn chữ chỉ bù mình nhỏ cho lo yên học công mong cứ như sai cho
So it radically changed. God radically changed how I saw having kids.
Còn đó yêu văn chữ long của cú bù hay ta mình nhỏ chỉ họ là cứ dạng tăng lúc cái cú sáng ta mình nhỏ yêu cú lấy trái mua.
So how do you see having kids?
Cái con này có bù mình nhỏ lấy chàng.
Whether you're a parent with kids or you don't have kids, or married or single.
Giờ yêu có yêu ít từ nào là ít từ gì là yêu ít từ chỉ tao mua chỉ muốn cả có hai chục bù lấy chàng.
You have a perception about what having kids means.
ดูสิเหรอแล้วก็ยิ่งมัวอีกข้อคือก็สังต่อแต่มีโยอยากลังกุชีฮัลุนจ้าหรือคือเป็นมัวมีโยอยากลังชี
So here are a few possibilities of how we might see having kids.
มัวเอาไปอย่างคือเป็นสังจูเท่าคือเป็นสังจูฮัตตามีตุมัวมีตุมีโย
So the first is kids are sort of up to me. I'm the one in control.
เป็นแต่ตัวเป็นยศสังแต่เขาคือยูมัวมีโยฮัชิมัวยองยองแต่ยูยูฮัตตุคือยูจ่าจีชาเท่าที่ยูสังต่อ
We're going to get married. Our first kid will come when we're 2 years into marriage. The next kid will come 11 months later. The next kid will come 9.5 months after that.
แต่จะเป็นแต่ตัวเป็นตึงปังเลยแต่ยูชิโยแต่ยูต่ออ้อชงแต่ยูละมามัวอีตูแต่ยูต่ออีชงจีแต่ยูมามัวอีตูแต่ยูต่อโจลินจีแต่ยูมามัวตูเป๊
So that's one view. Here's another one. That kind of like me, kids are my right.
เป็นแต่ตัวแต่เป็นเขาจะสั่งแต่มีเขาคือยูมัวต่อมีโยอย่ายูมัวใจอย่าจูมัวอย่าอีอย่างคือวันจูอย่าจูมัวตัวยู
I've done the right things. I've been good. God, you should give me a kid.
แต่จะเป็นสั่งแต่วันจูกูตื้อโอไลแล้วก็หากูโอ้ยตัวต้นหิงแต่ก็อย่าจูมัวตัวมีโยตัวกู
Here's another one, okay? That kids are my value and my worth comes from kids.
เป็นแต่ตัวแต่เป็นเขาจะสั่งแต่มีโยอย่างคือโยโอจะยูจีจ้าฮะยูทะเลมุงเกยอย่ายูชิมัวมีโยแต่ยูแต่จะยูชิมุงเกย
And ladies, I'm guessing this is one that a lot of you struggle with.
ชื่อเสียงแต่จะเป็นจากกูอย่าจากคือสั่งเลยหนูอย่าเป็นชิมัวมีโยแต่จงคือเป็นชิมุงเกยจงบลาเตลจงลุยลุยเลย
Now here's one for the guys.
หนูอยากจะจีนเองแต่จะไม่หาจะสั่งเลยหนู
That kids are my obligation to continue my family name.
แต่จะเป็นจากจีนเองเป็นอยู่สั่งแต่กูอยากตัวจีนเองมันกูอยากจูมัวมีโยชูทะเลอยู่ยังอยู่เจทะเลเดมงโตมง
They are my legacy and to continue our family name for generations.
มีโยอยากจะกูอยากจ่ออยู่ลูกกงลุงเบฮะอยู่ลูกเสียงหมุนย่อหมุนยังเป็นโชว์ถอดเท้าอยู่เลย
So here's another one. That kids are my security when I'm old.
เป็นแต่ตัวแต่เป็นสั่งแต่อยากจูมัวมีโยจะเขาเท้าอยู่เล่าไอ้เรื่องตัวอยากตัวอยู่อยากจูมัวมีโยนะ
That I need lots of kids because one of them needs to be good enough to take care of me when I'm old.
แต่จะเป็นสั่งเป็นจูอยู่จะจ้องจะคอยเป็นจูใส่อีตัวคือทะเลตัวอยู่
Fundamentally, all of these 5 things all trace back to one general idea.
อย่าเป็นมัวใช้ทางชอชี้อย่างคือเป็นสั่งจูมีโยโนแต่ลูกสาวจะขอโน
Kids are here for me.
ลูกสาวจะลูกคือเป็นแต่อยู่อยากจูมัวมีโยจะอยู่ตัวเข่ง
Now, if you've ever felt one of these things that I was just talking about, whether you have kids or don't have kids,
แต่จะอย่าไม่ติดสั่งจูอีอย่างคือชี้อย่างคือเป็นหาโนเลยจะอยากก็ตัวมัวมีโยแล้วจะต้องมัวมีโย
then the Old Testament has a woman just for you.
แต่เป็นอยากใช้วันลูกกูคือมัวอีตัวกูคือวันชื่อข้าจะเป็นหัตถ์นื้อจะสั่งเลยจ้ะ
She could have very easily felt any one of these.
ถ้าเป็นใช้ในรุ่นนี้เป็นปู่แต่ย่งยีจนหนูสั่งเลยคือเป็นสั่งฮะ
The kids were her right.
แต่จะหนูสั่งแต่หนูจุหนูมั่วใจเตามีโย
They were her worth.
มีโยทะเลโอจนหนูมงเก
They were her family name.
หนูมั่วมีโยชื่อหนูจ้างหนูเจทะเลอยู่ย้อมมง
She could have felt these, but she didn't.
หนูยิ่งสั่งเตาแต่อย่างโนแต่ชีจะเป็นติลุใช้ในรุ่นนี้เป็นปู่แต่หนูจีสั่งแต่อย่างโน
She remembered something that we often forget.
หนูจู่อีอย่างคือเตาจะเป็นสุดเลยเป็นหนักกังเลย
Her name is Hannah.
ทุกคนกูปู่คือเป็นยติลุใช้โนหนูลืมไปหัวฮานา
And we can find her story in 1 Samuel 1.
เป็นยใช้ในรุ่นนี้คือชาวจาจะหูพอนได้อีสามุยังชงอี
Now, I'm going to summarize part of the chapter, then we'll read part of the chapter.
อีสามุยังชงอีเดี๋ยวจะแต่กูยโมหาจะเป็นหนอซึ่งตัวชีอีปลายเป็นมันยังเอาเป็นไงโอเค
Now, Hannah was married to a loving husband.
ฮานายตัวกูพูดคือนิมวยตัวกูอยากคือรู้หนูเอง
This husband also had another wife.
แต่ชีนี่ตัวกูอยากให้ชั่วโมงตัวกูพูดสิฮะ
And the other wife had kids.
ตัวกูพูดที่อ้อแต่มัวมีโย
But Hannah did not.
但是Hannah只莫名有嘞，
And it just broke her heart.
也我就Hannah都杀hin，还路杀hin。
And to make it worse, the other wife teased her about it.
一只当人来时，为咗個Hannah莫知道名有，但都個不叫有偏抓頭，還錯Hannah個女幫助莫。
And she was so sad.
而Hannah路殺都殺hin，
She would cry day after day.
女那女過嘞，
But she also prayed to God day after day.
但是女正那女逃亡住哈。
And this tells us the first thing that she remembered that we sometimes forget.
而Hannah看到這邊一樣嘅女就住，樣嘅邊落講了。
That a child isn't a right or a privilege or a name.
女哈達女就住但民謠只要我這個有夢嘅，只要我這個有講有見樣，還只要有夢ใจ有知道。
She remembered a child is a gift from God.
但是Hannah用咗但民謠有講夢嘅輪到往住多零路時，
A child is a gift from God.
民謠有講夢輪到往住路。
I mean, it's easy for us to think we create children.
容易這邊上下但邊有都個字，一出嚟冇民謠。
We know the biology, that seems to be how it works.
被包下但有住我嚟講，誒民謠出嚟升到。
But if you've ever thought that you're the one in control of when you have kids, you need to remember this.
但是有被邊上下但有都個ใจ到了，有都個知道出嚟冇民謠，那特別有專注樣嘅Hannah有喏。
That children are a gift that God gives.
別有專注咗但民謠有講夢，佢往住有都個摸咗別。
We don't make them, earn them, or even deserve them.
只要別只個冇民謠，只要別我是用，也別出嚟到民謠，只要別有住那女我學佢要，別出嚟到的民謠咯。
So that's the first thing that Hannah knew, that a child is a gift from God.
一樣咯，一樣ที่一佢別個人的Hannah用咗但民謠要往住嚟講夢。
So here she is, brokenhearted, crying and praying.
但為咗佢話Hannah包領導女正都殺但你冇知道民謠，但是你那女逃往住Hannah女過嘅。
And one day she goes to the temple, to church,
每一女冇到往住路多謝，
and she's crying and praying more.
一女正過下逃往住。
And then one day she prayed that if God would give her a son, she would give him back to God.
Hannah 過下逃往住，但往住有個每條民謠咗佢有冇去飛咗講咗個。
Now, and God heard her prayer, and she gave her a son.
女仔往住攞你條路逃，下往住每一條民謠咗Hannah。
Okay, now we have to pause there. Can you imagine her joy?
咩想到Hannah有種山冇嚟聽頭佢你升到了，嚇你到都。
A baby after years of not being able to have a baby.
到能到小你去摸嘞，那你家里摸一條米都，咩想到你有種山冇嚟聽。
I think if we were to ever get pregnant, I don't think I would ever let go of that baby.
呀，摸到民謠們出古有去找條民謠帶嘞，
I'd be standing up on stage with a baby in one arm and my sermon in the other.
出古破個仔條民謠頭嘅古貼身啊。
But she did an incredible thing.
但是Hannah我到一樣佢走下去，我就被驚被知道不落嘞。
She gave him back to God,
你家里摸條民謠就講咗往住，
but not right away.
但是你去摸當時那個你遇到。
She and her husband agreed to nurse the child till he grew a little older.
你睇你都個有條雜誌寫的，我都有讀條民謠，條民謠路走，你去攞米來，你攞到肉毛來，我都嚟慢摸條民謠叫冇咗啊。
And in that culture, they actually nursed their children for 3 or 4 years.
cho tôi nhìn như thế em bố yang thằng lưu để bố yên mỗi mi cho mình nó thầu mình lưu lại cứ bé bao hiong trái bố lại mang chú.
Why not? It's free food.
Bé bố lên đấy cho khỏi giờ rau mỡ lấy cho tụi mình xíu.
Yeah, good luck translating that.
That was hard.
So imagine that. She raised and cared for this child for 3 to 4 years.
Thì những thứ ship bao là bé là bao hiong lưu tu tụi mình ha lưu tụi mình ha lưu ba cho tụi mình của tụi mình lưu.
And then she went back to the temple
Thì những cái mong cho tỏ lưu văn chữ lưu tổ chế.
and gave him to the temple to be raised as a priest.
Cái cha lấy mua tụi mình cho sư phụ cha cho cô bố cho ha khá.
And that's where the part of the story where we're going to read.
Cái bé vô nhện họ hữu văn lưu cú họ cứ thầu cứ hana cho tụi mình cho cái mong cho tỏ lưu tổ chế là.
So this is out of 1 Samuel chapter 1, 26 through 28.
Bé vô nhện hữu ý sa mô nhện cho ý cái nên gọi cho một trong cái nên gọi gì.
So the priest who was on duty was named Eli.
Từ sư phụ là từ thay cho lưu sĩ hận đợi tỏ lưu tổ chế lưu bé hữu Eli.
And here's Hannah talking to Eli.
Cái nơi hana tăng tòn chú sư phụ Eli halu.
And she says, "Pardon me, my Lord." Do you want me to just read the whole paragraph?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. "Pardon me, my Lord." And this is referring to the priest. So it's not like God, Lord. It's just a statement of a name of respect. So, "Pardon me, my Lord," speaking to Eli. "As surely as I live, I'm the woman who stood beside you praying to the Lord. I prayed for this child, and the Lord granted me what I asked of him. So now I give him to the Lord, for his whole life will be given over to the Lord."
Hana ha cho Eli hata tu chữ có bộ trình dư tao cũ là cũ giờ tu có bu cứ thọ có bu tôi sợ đời nó thọ tu chữ đó cũ thọ tu chữ bu tu mi tu nó cho cũ tu chữ bu cho cũ là lời lệ cũ tê lưu thọ do lên đời cũ tham mua cũ tu mi tu phi cho tu chữ cha nữ ô tu chữ tu tôn này mong ta nữ sĩ nên lệ.
Now, this child turned out to be the prophet Samuel.
Tu mi tu đã lu ô Samuel cứ chế văn chữ cho lu cho tôi này.
And the prophet Samuel was the one who commissioned King Saul and King David.
Samuel giờ tu cứ tới thế tôm bê ha trang phốt tài solo ha phốt tài David.
He was instrumental in building and creating the kingdom of Israel.
Samuel giờ ít tu cứ sợi lu băng trang của mua lu tế chờ như sao lại anh ha mua cho phốt tài lu chư lu tế chờ.
All because she remembered something that we often forget.
Samuel ô tao tế yang nó vì cho có Samuel na hana dù ý yang cứ đào ra bên nó căng rồi.
That her child was not hers.
Hana yun jong hata tu mi nyo cứ vang chỉ mua cho nữ chỉ cho nữ tu.
He belonged to God.
Ta shi tu mi nyo đó ya vang chữ tu.
The child she prayed for,
Tu mi nyo cứ nữ na nữ thọ vang chữ cho của tao.
she conceived,
Tu mi nyo cứ sinh hồ nữ lúc lang.
and she gave birth to,
Tu mi nyo cứ nữ ya tu cứ yu
wasn't hers.
chỉ cho nữ tu.
He belonged to God.
Ya vang chữ tu.
And that's the other part of what Hannah knew that we often forget.
Ya con đó ya ít con gì cứ hana yun jong ta shi bên đào ra bên nó căng.
That a child is a gift from God that we give back to God.
Nên chưa ta mi nyo ya con mong luôn ta vang chữ lu cứ bên mua cho căng cho vang chữ.
So what do you think it would look like if you really believed
Ya con chỉ ta mi nyo ya con mong luôn ta vang chữ lu no.
that a child is a gift from God that we give back to God?
Ya con chỉ ta mi nyo ya con mong cứ vang chữ mua cho con ta shi ya họ cứ con mua cho căng cho vang chữ.
So parents, those of you with kids,
mẹ cho cứ mua mi nhô chứ sẽ mẹ cho cứ ya nà ya gì
Imagine you would have to partner with God in raising your child.
ya có bù lên nó ha ta có tụi mi nhô ya có mong để văn chữ có mua cho con cho văn chữ nó tệ có ya còn tiền chữ văn chữ ô trên nữ tu tụi mi nhô nó
You would seek God's will, not always just your own.
có yon trả văn chữ lúc sáng nhà cho tụi mi nhô chỉ ya có ô cổ lại là có lúc sáng nhà xứ
Or maybe even putting your desires second behind God's will.
là chỉ có yon mua dạng cứ có sáng tạo cho tụi mi nhô nó tọt căng lại cứ dạng cứ có bao ta văn chữ sáng tạo cho tụi mi nhô
So to parents, I know you want the best for your kids.
mẹ cháu nào chỉ cứ bao hết ta men chơi dạng cứ rong cho mẹ tụi mình nhô
But trust me, God wants better.
แต่是没有就包hết ta văn chữ chỉnh chơi dạng rong chăng đó ha
Imagine if you saw yourself co-parenting your child.
sáng chú hết ta có giờ ít tu cứ có cộng tiền chú văn chữ lu tu ha lu chơi có tụi mình nhô nó
That you partnered with God, sort of having joint custody.
rong lại cứ có ha văn chữ all in tu tụi mình nhô lệ em mẹ all in giờ nào giờ gì cho tụi mình nhô
How about those without kids?
em mẹ cho cứ chỉ tao mua mình nhô nè
Most of you probably will have kids one day.
phiền chung tên nữ yang bị số mẹ有mua mình nhô ha
Imagine seeking God's will for when you should have kids or how many kids you should have.
sáng chú ta thầu cứ mẹ thầu có một chỉ mong gửi lời em mẹ有lu thọ văn chữ ta văn chữ thầu từ có lên mang bù rong cho ư mua mình nhô
Or even seeking God's will whether you should have kids.
là chỉ mẹ lu thọ văn chữ sẽ như lu sáng nhà lên thằng ta như bộ bù rong cho mẹ mua mình nhô là chỉ mua
I think it would radically change how we plan for families.
cũng trên ta giờ bé bù lên đời ha bé sáng lên đời giờ long họ cứ bé chỉ sau kia ha mua mình tự mình nhô
Now, for all of us, what if kids weren't here to give you a family?
e cho bé cho bé sáng ta giờ bé bù ta mình nhô chỉ giờ lu cho bé xưa cho bé cha lên mua lu cho lu gì
They weren't here to fulfill you
chỉ giờ bố lu e cho bé cha lên rong sa bé cha lên căng sa
or serve you
là chỉ bé mua mình nhô bố cha lên bán tàu bé
or take care of you
là chỉ bố cha lên tu bé
or continue your family name.
là chỉ bố cha lên cho của bé lu chăng lu chè chỉ cho sao
What if your kids were given to you to glorify God?
giờ bé sáng ta mình nhô giờ văn chữ mua cho bé của văn chữ cha lên tàu công tàu bé
And make Him look good, not us.
ha ô cho của văn chữ tàu chế tàu mùa chỉ giờ cho của bé tàu chế tàu mùa
So, what do you think it would look like if we as a church could help parents?
giờ bé bận chuyện cái chơi cho nào cho gì
If we could help parents remember that a child is a gift from God that we give back to God.
chơi ha bán cho nào cho gì của bốn chương trâu tại mình nhô giờ có mong cái lương tại văn chữ lư cái bé mua cho cán cho văn chữ
We might have an opportunity for parents to dedicate their children just like Hannah did.
để bé yon trả sĩ hở ha bán chơi của cho nào cho gì bao mua bố cho mình nhô phi cho cán cho văn chữ
And any of them that are particularly loud, you're welcome to just give to us. We'll take them home.
hai giờ mình mua cho mình nhô cứ chân gió hay khi đi nữa là mình mua cho mà cho một chế một từ là tao
But we as a church want to give you an opportunity to dedicate your children.
แต่สิชื่อเส้นนู่นอย่าไปมัวอีลูชีหาจะไม่จะเอาหนาวจีลูฟีไม่จะมีโยจะวันจือ
Just like Hannah did.
อีอย่างเลยคือฮานาฟีนี่ตัวมีโยจะกันจะวันจือ
So that we can remember what Hannah knew.
เอชูเป็ดทวนสุดทะเลยูนจงอย่างคือฮานายู
That a child is a gift from God that we give back to God.
คือยูนจงแต่มีโยยังก็มองคือวันจือมัวจะยูให้ยูยังมัวจะกันจะวันจือ